Hey entertainment fans, this is Chris Bolts, and I'm going to be doing a video here where there's going to be a confluence between Western entertainment and anime. Now you're looking at this picture right here of Superman and thinking to yourself, what do you mean by a confluence between Western entertainment and anime? Well, I'm going to be telling you that right now. But starting off with Superman here, I just have to turn that light on so I can make myself look a little brighter. And we're going to start off with this article right here. Superman breaks impressive record following HBO Max release. But is it really impressive? Let's discuss. But before I do get into the content, do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And as the title suggests, it says that Superman has set another impressive viewership record. However, that's on HBO Max. It says Superman has received 13 million views. Now, what does a view mean or anything like that? Usually all these streaming services have different definitions of what a view actually means. And so a view can be anywhere from watching just a minute of the movie or television show all the way to watching the entirety of it. So we don't really know what that actually means. But on top of that, 13 million views on a streaming service is not bringing any type of money in for Superman. And that's where it brings me back over to the other article from the same website here from Superhero Hype. Superman is less popular than anime, F1, dragons, and dinosaurs in 2025. You heard that right, folks. Superman is less popular than the anime, F1, dragons, and dinosaurs in 2025. So there is a contrast here. How is it that it's popular on the streaming service, yet it's not popular overall? And that brings us to what's going on with how Superman is performing in the movies. Now, if you're not familiar or anything like that, let me go ahead and pull this up here. All right, so according to Box Office Mojo, Superman has only made $615 million in revenue worldwide. As you can see here, it made the majority of its money domestically as opposed to internationally. And we go back over here and we see that according to this list right here, Superman is about to be overtaken by Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle has made close to $605 million right now, according to the same website that I just quoted for Superman, Box Office Mojo. Whereas again, Superman is only at $615 million. This movie has not yet actually debuted in all of the open markets, and it is still performing phenomenally over in Japan. This is a cultural phenomenon with what's going on with Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle. But that's not where it ends. If we go down here and look at this overall list, we see that there are 6 movies that are currently outperforming Superman. And going into what the title says right here, we have F1 the movie, which starred Brad Pitt of $626 million. How to Train Your Dragon, which is a remake of the excellent animated series. I still haven't seen it yet, and frankly, I probably won't, because if it's just a one-to-one of the animated movie, I'll just go watch the animated movie. But I digress on that. How to Train Your Dragon has made $634 million, and then people are still stupid for dinosaurs. Jurassic World Rebirth, $867 million. A Minecraft movie, they should have put that up off in there right there, where a chicken jockey has beat Superman, $957 million. Lilo and Stitch, $1.04 billion. That's another remake of a better animated movie. So I would just watch the animated movie over the live action. And then Naza 2, which scored $2.15 billion. I don't know about you. I'm going to be skeptical on that $2.15 billion. I'm pretty sure the majority of all that money has come from China, whether that number is real or the Chinese communist government forced a lot of people to go watch Naza 2. I am highly skeptical of that movie making $2.15 billion, but I digress. We'll just take them at their word that that's what the case of is what's happening. So we got 6 movies that have outperformed the James Gunn's Superman. When I reviewed this movie back when it first came out, I gave the movie a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a fine movie, but the more I think about it as time has gone on and we've gotten further away from the debut date of James Gunn's Superman, I think it's a pretty bad movie. I think it might even be worse than Superman Returns, and Superman Returns was not that good of a movie at all. That movie was completely forgettable, and James Gunn's Superman is definitely forgettable. What's going on with the entire James Gunn's DCU is a travesty in my view. We started off with Creature Commandos, some portions of Peacemaker season 1, and some portions of Blue Beetle movie that most people have not even seen, being part of the James Gunn's DCU. And it started off with the completely forgettable Creature Commandos, which is an animation that pretty much nobody watched. And now Peacemaker season 2, which I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Peacemaker season 1. I have no interest in that character, but from those who have seen it, they have just called it a complete and utter social messaging mess. I have no interest in any of those. I have no more interest in the subversion of heroes, the deconstruction of heroes, the making of excuses for villains, the constant making the white man the bad guy and everything, which is all of that's just old. And frankly, a lot of other Americans and people around the world are saying the exact same thing about these types of movies that are coming out from the West, especially when it comes to heroes like Superman and Fantastic Four. As you can see right here, this last paragraph is really talking about that for superhero movies. Superman has underperformed. Regardless of what Warner Brothers says about that movie, they have taken a loss on that movie. It was only in the theaters for 30 days before it went straight to video on demand. It was only on video on demand for a couple of weeks before it went to HBO Max. And then it was on HBO Max for just a few days before Peacemaker season 2 came out. It's almost as if Warner Brothers is trying to just have everyone forget about that. And let's not forget that James Gunn did come out and announce the Superman sequel. Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, will arrive in summer 2027. And I believe he announced that sometime last month on X. I did a video on that. I will make sure to go ahead and put that in the description for you guys to go ahead and check out. This is just completely fascinating, where we see anime completely dominating an American icon. And the reason why that is, in my view, is because we have not really done a good job of selling American culture. Demon Slayer was 2 hours, 35 minutes, and not 1 minute of that felt like it was a chore or a slog to get through. You were kept entertained from beginning to end. I know some people say that you should watch the seasons before you actually watch Infinity Castle. I'm of a different mindset. I think that Infinity Castle has enough of a story there and does enough description of who is the protagonist and what's the goal of the protagonist, and establishing the relationships between the protagonist and all the other characters, including the villains, without you having to go and watch the episode. So I think you will still enjoy this movie, even if you have no knowledge of Demon Slayer. I like to use my daughter as an example. She says that she was not knowledgeable on anything associated with Demon Slayer, but when she came in and watched it, she was pleasantly surprised and she was entertained for the entire time. I think you guys would be too. So I would highly recommend you go ahead and check this one out. Unlike with James Gunn's Superman, I am definitely going to be buying Infinity Castle when it comes out on 4K. I will watch it again when it comes on Crunchyroll, and I can't wait for the coming parts 2 and 3 respectively. I think they're going to be coming out in 2027 and 29 respectively. I hope they move that up a little bit more, or a little bit closer. Get it out as quickly as you can so people are still engaged. I don't think that's going to be a problem for that. I think both of those are going to do just as well as Demon Slayer, and they might become the best trilogies ever released, up there with the Star Wars original trilogy, up there with the Indiana Jones trilogy. There are no Indiana Jones after The Last Crusade. I'm sorry to break your bubble on that. And I'll even throw in The Lord of the Rings, even though The Lord of the Rings is a real hard slog, but it still holds up to this day. It's still beautiful to this day. So yes, Superman is less popular than anime, F1, dragons, and dinosaurs in 2025. And frankly, James Gunn and Warner Brothers have no one to blame but themselves for the performance of that, despite trying to hype it up and say, well, we got 13 million views over on HBO Max, but that's not 13 million people that are actually going out and watching it in the theaters though, now is it? Which would you rather have, DC? 13 million people having their butts in seats in the theaters watching this movie right now, or 13 million views, whatever a view means? But those are my thoughts on the issue. What are your thoughts on all of this? Are you guys surprised that Superman is less popular than anime, F1, dragons, and dinosaurs in 2025? Whatever your thoughts, jump down in the comments, let me know what you think, and make sure you do like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. You take it easy.